We have witnessed many fights over the years where the fight has either ended in an unfortunate way or the fight was too close to call, which has had many fans speculate what would happen in a rematch. So here is 10 UFC rematches that must happen. Number 10. Dustin Poirier faced Eddie Alvarez at UFC 211. We're in the fight. Both fighters kept the fight on the feet, where it was a very interesting back and forth contest. In the second round, Dustin Poirier threw a vicious left hook, which had Eddie Alvarez hurt very badly. As Dustin Poirier was pushing hard for the finish, Eddie Alvarez landed a hard left hook of his own, stunning Dustin Poirier. Eddie Alvarez was able to secure the takedown and had Dustin Poirier pinned against the cage, where he landed 2 illegal knees. Referee Herb Dean declared the fight a no contest. This rematch definitely needs to happen, as it was a very crazy back and forth war. Hopefully we get to see this rematch happen before the end of the year. Number 9. Chris Weidman faced Gegard Mousasi at UFC 210. We're in the fight. Both fighters were going back and forth in an exciting war where Chris Weidman was able to take Gegard Mousasi down repeatedly, where Gegard Mousasi kept popping back up. In the second round, the TKO victory was given to Gegard Mousasi after what was first called an illegal knee by referee Dan Mergliata. After watching the replay, it was shown that the knee was legal, where the doctors thought that Chris Weidman was unfit to compete and the fight was stopped. If Gegard Mousasi re-signs with the UFC, it makes perfect sense to book a rematch between both fighters, as they both have unfinished business with each other. Number 8. Robbie Lawler was set to make his third title defense against Tyron Woodley at UFC 201. We're in the fight. Tyron Woodley landed a huge bomb early in the first round, which dropped Robbie Lawler instantly. He followed up with a barrage of punches to win the fight by knockout in the first round to become the new UFC welterweight champion of the world. Since that time, Robbie Lawler has taken a break from fighting and is currently scheduled to face Donald Cerrone at UFC 213. Tyron Woodley, on the other hand, has fought Stephen Thompson twice. I believe if Robbie Lawler puts together a few solid wins, he will be right back in title contention. It will be interesting to see how the second fight will go between both fighters, as the first fight ended so quickly the first time they had met. Number 7. Daniel Cormier was set to make his first title defense against Alexander Gustafsson at UFC 192. In the fight, Daniel Cormier was able to take Alexander Gustafsson down early in the first round and held him there for the remainder of the round. As the rounds progressed, the fight became more of a striking battle, where Alexander Gustafsson was striking from the outside and even hurt DC many times during the fight. Daniel Cormier was closing the distance and landed hard strikes in the clinch. After the 5 rounds, the split decision victory was given to Daniel Cormier. Since that fight, Daniel Cormier has defeated Anthony Johnson at UFC 210 and will now make his third title defense against John Jones at UFC 214. On the other hand, Alexander Gustafsson has put together 2 great victories over Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira. If Daniel Cormier is able to successfully defend his title at UFC 214, a great option would be a rematch between Daniel Cormier and Alexander Gustafsson, where it will be interesting to see what changes both fighters have made since their last fight. Number 6. Jose Aldo just recently lost his UFC featherweight title to Max Holloway by TKO in the third round at UFC 212. It will be interesting to see a rematch between Jose Aldo and Cub Swanson next. Both fighters first met at WEC 41, where Jose Aldo won the fight by knockout via a flying knee in just 8 seconds of the first round. Since that fight, both fighters have taken their game to new heights and have remained at the top of the 145-pound ladder. Cub Swanson is on a 4-fight winning streak and last defeated Artem Lobov by a unanimous decision at UFC Final 108. If this rematch happens, the winner of this fight will likely decide who the next challenger for the UFC featherweight title will be. Number 5. TJ Dillashaw was set to make his third title defense against Dominic Cruz at UFC Final 81. In the fight, Dominic Cruz uses footwork and movement to look for openings to strike, which set up his takedowns. TJ Dillashaw chased Dominic Cruz down, putting together combinations, landing hard kicks. In a very closely contested fight, the split decision victory was given to Dominic Cruz, who won back the UFC bantamweight title. Since that time, TJ Dillashaw has defeated both Rafael Assunção and John Lineker impressively, whereas Dominic Cruz defended his title against Uriah Faber and lost his title to Cody Garbrandt at UFC 207. TJ Dillashaw is the clear number 1 contender in the bantamweight division and will likely face current champion Cody Garbrandt at a later date. If TJ Dillashaw is able to win back the UFC bantamweight title and Dominic Cruz is able to string a couple of wins together, the rematch will then make sense and it will be interesting to see how the second contest would go between both fighters. Number 4. Luke Rockhold was set to defend his title against Chris Weidman in a rematch at UFC 199. Leading up to the event, Chris Weidman was forced to pull out due to suffering a neck injury. Michael Bisping stepped in on short notice to face Luke Rockhold at UFC 199 for the UFC middleweight title. Both fighters had fought before at UFC Final 55, where Luke Rockhold defeated Michael Bisping by a guillotine choke in the second round. At UFC 199, Michael Bisping landed a clean left hand, stunning Luke Rockhold, where he followed up with another hard left hand, which dropped Luke Rockhold against the cage. He threw a barrage of punches, and the fight was stopped, where Michael Bisping became the new UFC middleweight champion of the world. Since that fight, Luke Rockhold hasn't fought due to injuries, and Michael Bisping successfully defended his title against Dan Henderson at UFC 204. Hopefully both fighters can finish their rivalry once and for all, and I hope we get to see this rubber match happen later this year. Number 3. Jon Jones was set to make his 6th title defense against Alexander Gustafsson at UFC 165. In the fight, Alexander Gustafsson displayed great striking techniques and even took Jon Jones down many times during the fight. Jon Jones came back in the later rounds, landing his signature elbow strikes, stunning Alexander Gustafsson. After a crazy 5-round war, the unanimous decision victory was given to Jon Jones. Many had thought that Alexander Gustafsson was the aggressor in the fight and should have been the new champion. As of right now, Jon Jones is coming off a 1-year suspension and will be challenging the current UFC light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier at UFC 214. Alexander Gustafsson is coming off 2 great wins over Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira. If Jon Jones is able to win the UFC light heavyweight title at UFC 214, a great option would be a rematch between Jon Jones and Alexander Gustafsson, where it would be interesting to see which fighter has improved the most. Number 2. Conor McGregor faced Max Holloway at UFC Fight Night 26, where in the first round, Conor McGregor was getting the better of the striking exchanges. In the second and third rounds, Conor McGregor took Max Holloway down and punished him to win the fight by a unanimous decision. Since that fight, Conor McGregor went to defeat Diego Brandao, Dustin Poirier, Dennis Siver, Chad Mendes, and knocked out Jose Aldo in just 13 seconds to become the new UFC featherweight champion of the world. On the other hand, Max Holloway put together 10 wins over the top featherweights in the division, where he defeated Anthony Pettis for the interim title and next unified the title, defeating Jose Aldo to become the undisputed UFC featherweight champion of the world. Both fighters have evolved so much since the last fought, and it will be interesting to see how the rematch would play out if they ever fought each other again. Number 1. Conor McGregor was set to face Rafael dos Anjos at UFC 196. A foot injury caused Rafael dos Anjos to be removed from the event. Nate Diaz stepped in as a late replacement and submitted Conor McGregor in the second round, shocking the world. With Conor McGregor obsessed with getting his revenge, they both faced off at UFC 202, where Conor McGregor won the fight by a majority decision. Both fighters broke UFC records, making it the biggest pay-per-view of all time. As of right now, Conor McGregor is scheduled to face Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match on August 26th. The UFC president Dana White mentioned that Conor McGregor will return to the UFC before the end of the year. A good option would be a trilogy fight with Nate Diaz, with both fighters holding a win over one another. The third fight needs to happen, as the second fight showed no clear indication of who the better fighter was. The third fight will finish the argument once and for all.